Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering, Gina Carano, she's been in the news lately, and I know the UFC's basically had more of a stance of letting the fighters speak their mind. I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Leave Gina alone. Listen, we make mistakes. We all make mistakes. For everybody to go in on her. I love how Ariel Helwani made it all about him. It was all about him. Such a douche.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I've got a full day of content for you, not just Mandalorian Gina Carano stuff, but there's some spicy PewDiePie news from over the weekend, some other Star Wars hilarious backfires, and a wide variety of other topics, maybe the return of Parler. Lots to talk about. I hope that today will be the day I earn your subscription. There's a red subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it if you clicked it right now. I'll give you a second. I feel it. I feel you clicking the button. Those that are already subscribed, thank you so much. Now, wide variety of new news surrounding The Mandalorian, Gina Carano, Pedro Pascal, Jon Favreau, and many more, and Dana White. It was a wild weekend for news and speculation on the show's future. Some rumors even claiming that The Mandalorian may not continue, which to me seems insane, especially since we've already seen details about season 3, stories about Pedro Pascal leaving the show to go to focus exclusively on his lame The Last of Us show for HBO. Whole ton of news. Let's start with that. Pedro Pascal may exit The Mandalorian following Gina Carano. Now, this is via cosmicbook.news, which is a rumor website, much like we've got this covered, okay? Let's take this with a giant grain of salt. While the Star Wars fans are canceling their Disney Plus subscription in droves, it's suggested that Pedro Pascal may exit The Mandalorian, which follows Gina Carano getting fired from the series by Disney and Lucasfilm. It's also suggested that The Mandalorian may be canceled and that a season 3 will not happen. There is, how do I say this? 0% chance that they would cancel the most popular show on Disney Plus. I guess because anything could happen, perhaps 0.0000001. That reminds me of the Flight of the Conchord song, 0.0000001. Oh, sorry. Anyway, YouTuber Grace Randolph, who, by the way, is mildly well-connected, has put puzzle pieces together in a video posted Thursday titled Gina Carano Fire Pedro Pascal to HBO's The Last of Us Mandalorian Season 3. Randolph goes over the news of Carano being fired, which just may tie into the news of Pedro Pascal landing the new role in HBO's The Last of Us series. Before diving into things, so let's see this. Pedro Pascal was starring in HBO's The Last of Us. Regarding the possible connection between the news of her firing in The Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal starring in HBO's The Last of Us, the news Pedro first posted on Deadline, which was immediately followed by the news of Gina Carano. The published times have since been changed due to edits on the articles, but regardless, they were basically posted one directly after the other. While to the untrained eye, it seems as if Deadline is simply posting articles, it's more than likely that some sort of message is being sent, as the two articles were published prior to Disney's Q1 earnings call. Recall that it was Grace who also said there were major problems on the set with Pedro Pascal while filming The Mandalorian Season 2, and just as Randolph Wood said happened, Season 2 took a major turn halfway through when Mando was shown minus the helmet. I remember we talked about There were these stories that Pedro was, walked off the set because he wanted more actual FaceTime on the show, and which went against the entirety of, this is the way we never take off our helmet, except we saw Pedro's helmet off at least 2 different times. Not exactly this is the way, right? Season 2, where Mando was shown minus the helmet, which didn't fit at all with the events of the story in Season 1. Season 2 also ended with that Luke scene, as well as Baby Yoda leaving, which, as Randolph has pointed out, many fans suggested felt like the end of the series. It's guessed that Pedro isn't at all happy with Disney and Lucasfilm, and that Pascal has gone back home to Warner Brothers as a result, where Pascal was featured in HBO's Game of Thrones as well as Wonder Woman 1984, where some fans think his performance as Max Lord was the best in the movie. What's interesting about the Deadline article about Pedro Pascal joining The Last of Us is that it states Pascal has downgraded the importance of Disney's The Mandalorian and opted for HBO's The Last of Us to be his, quote, main focus. What is also interesting about the article from Deadline is that it has been edited to where it first stated, quote, he could continue on the Star Wars series to he will continue to the Star Wars series, which implies that the writer of the article had some sort of inside information about Pedro possibly not continuing The Mandalorian Season 3, but likely was told by Disney reps to fix it. The Deadline editors should have really explained the correction, but for some reason chose not to. Now, ultimately, I'm sure that they could probably... I'm sure all of the questions about the filming schedule and things like that had already been answered before he took the role on The Last of Us. So to me, I just thought, oh, okay, he's just going to be working on two things at once. But it continues. So the first article by Deadline offers Pedro Pascal has gone back to HBO to be the star of The Last of Us, which will take precedent over Disney's The Mandalorian, even though Pascal signed with Disney first and already has done 2 seasons. And the article also at first suggested that Pascal may not continue The Mandalorian. Certainly, he is the most easily replaced character on the show, given how often the helmet's on. But, I think he was keen to fight for helmet off moments in the show so that he'd be less replaceable. The article by Deadline was also posted a minute after the very same article by The Hollywood Reporter and followed 7 minutes by Variety. All 3 owned by the same company. See how this works? What probably happened is Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter, and Variety were tipped off about Carano being fired, which saw Disney release the following statement. And then we saw that. By the way, through my connections, I can now confirm that Gina did not know months ahead of time about being terminated and found out about the same time we all did. Randolph offers, wow, what a story. Now, if you follow my coverage regularly, the last few hours or even months won't be a surprise to you. But what's interesting is the level of play revealed over the last 24 hours. I believe that all 4 parties are going to come out of this quite well. And some of these parties have navigated the situation particularly aggressively and impressively because Disney has basically allowed 2 of its actors to shape their own exit narrative. Is Pedro done with The Mandalorian now that he's the star of HBO's The Last of Us? Deadline, which broke the story late last night on the eve of Disney's Investor Day. I wonder why it was important to get it out before Investor Day. But the article said that Pascal, quote, could continue. That's the word they use, but The Last of Us is his priority. That they also said Pascal recently became and is very interested as well, available for a new series, which is interesting because of the highly unusual for the star of a flagship show to join another show, especially for a competing studio and service. Now, obviously, regardless, Gina Carano, Grace points to the article from The Hollywood Reporter where it confirms the rumors that Disney had wanted to fire Carano for months. But due to previous tweets, Disney changed its mind. Quote, they've been looking for a reason to fire her for 2 months, and today was the final straw, a source with the knowledge of Lucasfilm telling The Hollywood Reporter. Grace thinks Carano knew she wasn't going to get Rangers of the New Republic and decided to post an Instagram story, which she did in order to get herself an out. And we can also add, while still remaining loyal to her Star Wars fans. Now, Deadline, there's been an update. Deadline announces Gina Carano's hit back, announces a new movie, which we already covered. It's possible. It's certainly all possible. And now Jon Favreau and Pascal get caught in the Mandalorian controversy. The daughter of former NFL quarterback Glenn Carano, Gina played Cara Dune, the ex-mercenary. So over the past several months, we've seen the battle with social media. You see here, what does this all have to do with Pedro Pascal? Well, we know that, Pedro's prior tweets that were not that different were brought into the situation. But now John Favreau has been bringing into this. Now, Jon Favreau, by all accounts, has been known to be against, quote, cancel culture. Many Star Wars fans, particularly those who love George Lucas's original trilogy, view Favreau and Filoni as the saviors of Star Wars. The Mandalorian has done something no previous Disney Star Wars project has done, brought the fandom together instead of tearing them apart. The adventures of Din Djarin and Grogu have given the fans authentic storytelling and character development that so many have been missing from Star Wars so long. Given the fact that Favreau reportedly crafted the role of Cara Dune specifically for Carano, it will certainly be interesting to see what happens moving forward. The actress was reportedly set to star in the Mandalorian series. Yeah, well, things change. And we saw in an interview, Dana White, obviously many people, maybe you didn't know this, but Gina Carano burst onto the scene as a UFC fighter, and a good one at that. UFC president Dana White ensnared his own company in Gina Carano's cancel controversy. White was asked about Carano, the MMA fighter turned actress, on Saturday night after UFC 258. Quote, "Leave her alone. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Or we make mistakes, we all make mistakes. For everyone to go in on her, I love how Ariel Helwani made it all about him. Such a douche." And it was like, his response was like, "Oh, as a Jewish man, I speak for all Jews, and I'm just so offended." It was really cringe. But Ariel Helwani is a douche anyway. And you see, obviously, Helwani is a top UFC reporter and is Jewish, so therefore the authority on what all Jews think about it, even though many of my viewers have pointed out that they're Jewish and weren't offended by it, and Ben Shapiro wasn't offended by it. Ariel saw the opportunity to make it about himself. Carano fought for Strikeforce and Elite XC, earning a 7-1 record between 2006 and 2009 before turning her attention to acting. Dana White and Helwani have a tumultuous story. White suspended the reporter back in 2016 for breaking news that Brock Lesnar was returning to the sport. White had Helwani escorted out of UFC 199 for reporting on information that he claimed he was banned for life before rescinding after 2 days. Yeah, Helwani, I remember when he was bawling his eyes out on camera too. It was just, Helwani is it's funny as Helwani's dad is, I believe, Gad Sad, which is funny to me. I think that's who his dad is. It's just a weird thing. And fans are fighting back. Fired Mandalorian star Gina Carano's fans petition for Star Wars to bring back her in the Star Wars franchise. So a couple of petitions have started. We know that Disney doesn't really care about this. Hollywood doesn't really care about petitions to rehire people who are guilty of wrongthink or of a protected class. We see how many 2 million signatures to get rid of Amber Heard. She's never going to get out. And there's this petition here. It's not that big. 17,000 people have signed it. Look, if you're going to sign this, sign it with a picture of your cancellation of Disney Plus, and not just your cancellation, but take the extra step to make them give you money back, make them prorate your refund. That takes money out of their bank account. Disney is not going to be taken down by this. I mean, I bet you their stock is way back up again after having a bad day on Friday. The stock market's closed today, actually. It's a bank holiday. Look, if you're going to cancel this, if you're going to sign this petition, cancel Disney Plus. And don't wuss out and say like, "Oh, I signed a year, so I get to keep it till like November or December." No. Make Disney refund you money. That will hit them hard. It will make an even bigger statement. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you've subscribed to the channel, and we'll talk to you again real soon.